Alright, in this video I'm gonna be trying to explain how no sliding works in this game. Let's start off with the name, because I want to clear up any confusion about the name. There are three terms used to explain the same mechanic. These names are smooth steering, no sliding and quantum sliding. They all refer to the same mechanic of maintaining grip by limiting your steering range to not slide out. So if you hear any of these names, it's referring to what I'm about to explain in this video. So, what is a no-slide? No-sliding is about grip management. You're trying to steer as much as possible without sliding out. The closer to the limit, the more beneficial and faster it's gonna be. But there are many factors that can affect your grip, making it harder or easier to do or maintain a no-slide. So through this video, I'm gonna show some examples and make a list of things that help make your grip stronger, things that make it weaker, and then show some mechanics that are used to optimize no-sliding or get around issues with sliding out. First, I'm going to show you how you know if you're doing it correctly by looking at your skid marks. On the screen, you can see two visual versions that shows if you're doing it correct or if you're not doing it correct. If skids have a small separation, then you gain speed. If they don't, then you're not going to get any extra speed. In this clip, you can see that the skid marks change based on how aggressive I'm steering. And that's it. That is how you can see if you're doing it right or not. It's pretty simple. But keep in mind that no sliding without the separation is completely useless. You always want to aim for them if you're ever trying to no slide a turn. And now you know how to check if you're doing it right. Let's start with surfaces. Here I have three identical inputs on three different surfaces: plastic, grass, and dirt. Let's see how much grip difference there is. Here I'm zooming in so you can see that as you start going faster, then the limit of your grip is decreasing, giving you skid separations. Now making it optimal. But as you continue to get more speed, you went over the grip limit and you slid out. And it's this balancing act you're trying to maintain at all times. Now let's put what we learned on the list. As shown, the less speed you have, the more grip you have, and the more you're able to steer. And as you increase your speed, you need to lower your steering or you're gonna slide out. So this means low speed gives good grip, high speed gives bad grip. Regarding the different surfaces, we have now seen that dirt is the surface with the most grip, then grass as the second most, and plastic in last place, having the same amount of grip as Granati's hairline. Now let's move on to elevations. Here we are testing 60% steering going up and down a hill, showing that when you're going downwards, it makes it more difficult to slide out. But going upwards actually takes away a lot of your grip, making it very easy to slide out. I then did 40% to show that you can still no slide, but it's just way more sensitive to slide outs when going upwards. So now we know that downhills is good for your grip and uphills are bad for your grip. But since it's rare that you see a map having a ramp like this, I'll show you some natural uses of elevations that helps improve your grip. And in some cases, making it only possible to do these lines because you have a downhill. Even outside dirt bankings work in your favor because they are tilted, making it a downwards angle, giving you more grip. These three clips shows the utilization of downhill grip, while also showing that downhills come in many shapes. Next up is off-road. There isn't too much to say about off-road. It's not something that you normally no slide on, but when you do, in rare occasion, it does have less grip. While driving on off-road with normal car state is pretty rare, you do often see a reactor down combination while driving on off-road, or you try to avoid off-road when it comes to transitions. But off-road in itself is pretty simple, because you never really drive on it. Now we get to transitions. This is where no sliding gets fun. Transitions means places where you either drive over a surface change, for example from road to grass, or when you have an elevation change. These transitions are very difficult to cross without sliding out. You essentially want to do a setup so you are able to drive over the transition without steering, and then start steering again as soon as you have passed the change. Like shown here, where right before I go through the transition, I need to go completely neutral so I don't slide when crossing the transition. After going through it, I need to start steering again because now I'm on grass and a downhill, so I'm adjusting to the grip strength that I believe I have. The current campaign map 04 have a perfect example of a very difficult double transition of both an elevation change and a penalty corner. Keep in mind that you can no-slide these transitions, it's just not as optimal, as avoiding them makes you able to steer more. This line is very difficult to pull off, especially with the combination of tap steering. And here I've marked the two transitions where you need to go neutral when driving over. Getting over these transitions is not something that's very easy. Now we have reached the level where it's not just about knowing how to no-slide, but actually being able to also pull it off. No-sliding on the highest level is about pushing the absolute limit of precision. You need to constantly balance the grip values that you believe you have. Next up is no-slide snaps and tap steering. This is the hardest mechanic about no-slide optimization. If you're sliding, then it's possible at the end of a turn to countersteer, to realign your skid marks, giving your back full grip. This is always followed by a tap steer. Essentially, what you need to know is that when the car is positioned straight, like after a snap, you have a slide out buffer before your car is able to even slide out. The buffer timer starts at about 0.3 seconds and the time gets shorter the less grip you have. And eventually you need to lower your 100% tap steer to a lower percentage based around the grip value you have in that moment. A lot of what I'm doing in this run is based around feel and muscle memory that I've built around this foundation that I'm showing in this video. It is trial and error, and it is a lot of improvisation of what you feel like is the percentage you have, but you do have some things that can help you with figuring out faster what percentage you need to steer to be able to make the turns. In this screenshot, I just want to highlight that in the start I have less speed and able to only steer around 65% before sliding out. But in the other two sections I'm faster, yet I'm able to steer more. This just shows the difference in grip strength based on the things I've shown so far. The start have low speed and it's dirt, so it's pretty grippy. The other two have the same, but because it's a dirt banking, it counts as driving downhill and in return gives a lot of grip. Doing this is really difficult and it's going to take a lot of time and practice to really get the hang of. But it is really fun when you get the hang of it. Next up is gears. Gears follows the same rule as always. You can't steer or have skids when gearing up. I'm only mentioning this to show that being able to release in the middle of a no-slide to control when to gear up is very useful. And by using tap steering, as mentioned before, you can steer more aggressively after the gear up to optimize further and really squeeze out every single percentage that is possible within the turn. Alright, and that is it. I've gone through some of the things that I think is the most important things when it comes to no-sliding and understanding how it works. There are a lot of other things you could have mentioned in this video, like having reactor down or having reactor up. But this is the most cohesive way of explaining basically everything that's going on and how you, what is the mindset that you use to figure out how to no-slide. These are like the fundamentals, and there are some very, very niche things that you could add to this list, but I've decided not to. And I also want to mention that no-sliding is kind of controversial because of the different input devices we have in this game, right? So if you use keyboard, you are limited to using action keys, which is like 20, 40, 60, and 80%, which if you want to optimize a no-slide and really push it, you are kind of not, you're kind of limited, right? So if you use a controller, a wheel, or like some other analog device, this is the most optimal way to do it. But it's really rare that if you want to do anything competitively or if you want to do anything round-based, that this is going to affect you. Like nose sliding to the maximum is usually a hunting thing. Like you can use it, but it's just so difficult that using it in rounds is just way too much. But yeah, this is the video. I hope you learned something. And if you didn't, I probably didn't go niche enough. But yeah, thanks for watching and bye bye.